Hey everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show live. How are all of you? Nice to see all the smiley faces. Welcome to our entertainment lifestyle talk show series. I am your host, Jim Masters. Hope you're ready for another inspiring, entertaining, and fun episode of our live series that we've been doing for, oh boy, I can't believe we're coming up on about a year now, which is extraordinary considering we have been doing these shows just about daily, 7 days a week, sometimes 2 shows a day, well over 400 episodes of inspiring conversations, amazing guests, light, love, levity, lots of cool moments, poignant moments, laughter, anything goes sometimes as well, all right here on JMS Live, the Jim Masters Show Live. Again, this is born out of my work professionally as a television and radio personality and presenter, host, journalist, actor, writer, producer, stage MC, voiceover artist. And we brought in the television cameras, turned on the lights, and started the show, I'd say late April, early May. Coming up in May will be the 1-year anniversary of the Jim Masters Show Live. And we have an international audience. They are absolutely amazing. One of the best audiences out there. We don't just call them an audience. We don't just call them viewers. They are called the Lovities. That's right. Something special here at JMS Live. The reason why they're the Lovities was because of a slip up. I was saying the show had a lot of light, love, and levity in the summertime, and I said levity. And when I said levity, whew, the earth stopped. And all of a sudden, everybody said, I'm a levity, you're a levity. Kind of like I'm a pepper, you're a pepper, Dr. Pepper. Well, in this case, they're Lovities. So they're part of our Levity squad, the viewers. They call me Mr. Levity, which is cool. I'll take it. They call this our studio, Levity Hall. And we are here in the greater New York area along the southern New England coast between New York and Boston. And we have over 400 episodes for you to enjoy and watch. And you can binge watch all of them right here on our YouTube channel. So if you missed anything with any of the incredible guests, any of the terrific conversations, some of our host chat levity episodes, some of the on location episodes and guests from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, culinary arts, sports, comedy, inspiration, and more. Well, you can see them all. Very bingeable series here called JMS Live, the Jim Masters Show Live. So we welcome everybody watching all around the world. We would love it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Love it, share it. That would be fantastic. That does help the show. And so definitely do it, because a lot of you say, oh, what can we do to help the show? All you have to do is just tell everybody about it, share the links, tell people, comment during the show, give a thumbs up on the episode on YouTube. If you love the episode, give it a thumbs up. We love that. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's no cost to it. Click the notification bell too, so you don't miss any of our amazing episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live. Hey, you know, it's so apropos and perfect that we have an author on our show today, because today is World Book Day 2021. That's right. It's World Book Day. So JMS Live, the Jim Masters Show Live, is celebrating. We've had a multitude of authors on our show. So we're celebrating World Book Day today, 2021, at the time of this broadcast. So that is fantastic. Every day should be World Book Day. That's for sure. Every day should be Earth Day. We welcome you. Just a second. Our great guest, author Calvin Fisher, is going to be here. He's got a riveting new apocalyptic book that we're going to be talking about in just a second. But first, we welcome our Lovities around the world. Today, we've got a mug. Usually we have a cup, a glass, some of the wonderful gifts you guys have sent. Today, it is the I Love Lucy mug. And we just have some pink lemonade in here. That's all from Trader Joe's, of course. So we salute and we welcome all of you. We always do this. We welcome everybody, all the viewers, the Lovities, and our guests, and everybody that's tuned in live right now, or who will be watching this episode later on in the archives on Jim Masters TV. And we welcome you. And Maureen is here. Happy Friday, Jim and Lovities everywhere. I hope you all had a good week. I know we are all glad to see the weekend is here. Well, what better way to kick it off than an evening in Levity Hall? You got it as well. And of course, we love it if you subscribe to Jim Masters TV on our YouTube channel there. That would be great. We say hello to all the Lovities. Denise is here. Hi, Jim. Mary Bishop is here. Mary in Florida, good to see you as well. Welcome, Denise. Welcome, Mary. Welcome, Ann Wozniak, who's here as well. These are the real diehard lovities who are here all the time, who really love the show, and they're inspired and entertained by it, which is perfect. And not everybody has to comment during the show. A lot of people watch and they don't comment, perfectly fine. And some people watch it later, 24/7 in the archives. Good evening. On Friday, Jim and Lovity family, wishing everyone a great weekend. You as well, Anne. Good way to kick off the weekend, right? And we're going to be here this weekend. The High Kings are here live from Ireland on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Going to be amazing. Kathy Short is here. Happy Friday, Jim and Lovities. Welcome to the weekend. Kathy is in Cleveland, Ohio. We welcome Kathy. And Willie is here toasting as well. We welcome Willie from the Netherlands and Juanita from South Africa. She is here reporting for duty as well. And Crystal is here and Mary's toasting. These are the real diehard Lovities, and we love them back. And Claudia Bartow is here as well. Hey, Jim and Lovities. Good to see you, Claudia, from Northern Ireland. Chris is here. Good to see you. Screen Queen Army. Hello. How are you keeping? Well, Jim, we are doing fantastically, brilliantly. And I hope you are in Northern Ireland as well, Chris. Willie is here again. Hello, Lovities. Here is Holland. How do you do? I greet my friends. Good to see you, Willie, in Holland. Crystal in Connecticut. Hi, Jim and everyone. Happy Friday. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Looking forward to an exciting and fun show with inspiring conversation and levity. You know it. That's what it's about, gang. We always have a lot of fun here. Juanita also says, hello, Jim and Lovity Squad. Welcome to the weekend. Yeah, I think it's already the weekend for you, right? Because you're in South Africa and you're always a step closer to the weekend than we are here in the States. So we should always check with you as far as how the weekend is going to go. Christine Clifton is in North Carolina, USA, and she says, happy Friday, Jim and Lovity friends. Welcome Calvin to the show tonight and cheers. Perfect. Well, Calvin is really amazing, and we're so excited to have him here. He's originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota, but he lives, which is a great city, American city, but he lives in Denver, Colorado. And I was just on a TV shoot, I may remember me mentioning, about 2 years ago in the Denver area, and it's fantastic. And we were over at Red Rocks and just really beautiful place. The air is nice and clean. The elevation is a little up there, so you got to get used to that. But Calvin is a terrific author of this fantastic book that everybody's talking about. It's Northfield, and we're going to really break it down and tell you more about it coming up. But Northfield is a captivating sci-fi book about a post-apocalyptic world plagued with a gas that is fatal to humans. It follows the life of Mark Northfield, operating as a lone mercenary employed by a shadowy organization during a time when the earth has known nothing but suffocation, with sweeping clouds of neon death covering the surface. The pressure of self-preservation forces survivors to harden their hearts. Really incredible book, and so in line with some of the things that have been happening in society of late. The timing of the book is extraordinary. It's riveting. And again, Calvin is the author, live and direct from Denver, Colorado. Let's welcome Calvin to the show. Calvin, welcome from Denver. Good to have you with us.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jim. Excited to be here and to spend some time with you and the Levities.
You as well. Now, did you get your hair cut or do you have it pulled all the way back?
Oh, I have it pulled all the way back. It's a good deal longer than what was in that picture. Yeah.
It's even longer than that?
Oh yeah, it's about to probably the collarbone, maybe a little bit lower. So.
Wow, you got me beat because look.
Oh, nice. I see that.
It's I haven't had it cut since the pandemic started, and it's the longest I've had it in my entire life. And now we're at this goal where I want to reach 1 full year with not having it cut. You know how that goes. So, and we're getting closer and closer and closer to it. So it's kind of cool.
That's awesome. Did you decide to really grow it out like that pre-COVID, or was it just, when COVID hit, you decided to just keep it going?
When COVID hit, I'd always wanted to do it. I always wanted to give it a shot. And then when COVID hit, it gave me the excuse and the reason to do it. So then we just let it roll. And I'd say it goes to about here. Yours, I think you said here, but mine goes to about here. But it's amazing. You can pull it back and then it doesn't look like there's anything. but when you pull it back, sometimes it hurts.
Oh yeah, I know that. And sometimes when you need to take out the little hair tie and it pulls the hair, that's my least favorite part for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So some choice words slip out every once in a while. Anne says, welcome, Calvin. She's in Jacksonville, Florida. And
Hi, Ann.
Screen Queen Army, Chris says the hairdressers and barbers are open from today and next week in Ireland. Non-essential shops open next week. That's great there in Ireland. Kathy in Cleveland says, welcome to the show. Calvin and Denise says, welcome, Calvin. And Crystal in Connecticut says, hi, Calvin. Welcome to Loveday Hall. Juanita is in South Africa. She says, welcome to the show, Calvin. And Mary Bishop, this is that Loveday I was telling you about. Hello, Calvin. Welcome. She is in Pine Island, Florida. And Marcia Lyon, who's in Massachusetts, is here as well. Good evening. Sending Loveday to everybody. Good to see you, Marcia. Hope you're doing well and hope to get together with you real soon. And Christine Clifton is welcoming you as well. Welcome to the show tonight, and cheers to you, Calvin. Willie in Holland welcomes you, and Maureen in Arizona. Another great Loveday. Welcome, Calvin. It's nice to have you as Jim's special guest this evening. Chris in Northern Ireland says hello, Calvin. Welcomes you as well. So lots of love. Yeah. Christine in North Carolina. Calvin, welcome to the JMS Live tonight. Looking forward to a fantastic conversation, Loveday Hall. You are now a Loveday. So there you go.
Well, thanks everyone for the really warm welcome. I was excited to be on and meet all of you, but that just that all made me doubly excited. So really excited for this.
It topped it, didn't it? I tell you, I always tell the guests, I say, you can get all kinds of awards. You can get Oscars and Tellys and Peabodys and Emmys and Tonys and Grammys. But when you get a Loveday on the Jim Masters Show Live, it's something special, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I haven't gotten any of those awards, but I honestly can't imagine it feeling much better. So thanks, everyone.
Maybe a Peabody soon one of these days, too. It's really cool. And I didn't think about it until today, how you being a prolific writer and a novelist with this wonderful novel, you're here on World Book Day 2021. How perfect is that?
I know, it's just serendipity, I guess. I didn't even realize it was World Book Day today until I just saw it on social media feeds. So what great timing.
It is, absolutely. So let's go back in time. Were you always, growing up in the Minneapolis area, were you always a writer? Were you always interested in sci-fi? Were you always, looking to create and share it with the world like you've done with this novel? Were you a fan of like Star Trek and Twilight Zone and some of the incredible sci-fi series and specials?
What I actually started out loving was comic books. I was just the biggest Spider-Man fan in the world. And from a young age, I wanted to be an author and sort of knew that's what I wanted to do, because what I would do when I was a little kid back in elementary school is I would write up a whole bunch of different comic books and draw them, and then get my dad to print them off and try to sell them to people around the neighborhood. So that's always been a passion of mine. I'm just glad my dad was obliging enough to print out all of those comic books. Otherwise, I would have just had one sale to my grandma with the originals. So.
That's how it always works. I know when we had school projects, or we were raising money to go on school trips and things of that nature, or when I was in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, we would have to sell, candy and cookies and greeting cards, all kinds of different things. So I'd bring the catalog home from school, and I would give it to my mother. She'd bring it into work, and then you'd have like 20, 30 orders. And then my dad would bring it in the next day to work, and you'd have like 20, 30 orders. And that would always be.
That's awesome. Did you have to sell, along with the candy and those things, Christmas wreaths in Boy Scouts?
Yeah.
That was one of the big things. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to do the Christmas wreaths as well, and greeting cards, and even like rock candy and peanut brittle. That used to be very popular stuff that, the dentist and the doctor would say, don't even go near now.
Right, exactly.
But but it sure tasted good. So that's cool. So growing up in Minneapolis, what were some of the inspirations too? You mentioned comic books, but other authors, other people who you aspired to, that you enjoyed their work, like maybe a Stephen King, a Steven Spielberg, or any of the others out there?
One of them I started with was Vince Flynn, is someone I got a lot of inspiration from, especially that he's also, local Minnesota author. But just I loved his thrillers with Mitch Rapp. And just they were so quick paced, you could just devour the books in, a weekend. And I read a whole bunch of his books. So I think just sort of that inspired me in a lot of ways, especially in how I write books and that sort of thing. So I'd say that's a pretty big one.
Now, you were mentioning to me when we were chatting before we went live on air that you moved to Denver, Colorado for school, for college. And what were you studying? What have you been studying in school there in Denver?
So I started with an English major because I knew, writing was the primary thing I wanted to do. But sort of into my school career, I also started studying computer science. So those ended up being the two disciplines I graduated with. So kind of an eclectic mix of things, but I guess, yeah, kind of unique.
Do you lean more towards one over the other, or are you working in, IT or the computer world now?
Yeah, currently I am working in IT. The ultimate goal is to make writing the living, but
Yeah,
you know, I
that's a plus. That's a plus.
yeah, I certainly do take value out of trying to use sort of what you were saying before the show, as far as both sides of the brain, sort
Yeah,
of having that analytical and creative side.
that's fantastic. What was the inspiration for your book, Northfield? What, when you decided that you wanted to actually write this, um, what was the sources of inspiration for you, Calvin?
It. I'd certainly say what I was mentioning, Spider-Man comics were sort of a big thing. Especially there's sort of some issues where Peter Parker has a lot of conversations with God, and they were very humorous and funny and just really entertaining to read. And I knew I wanted a character that sort of encapsulated a lot of that sort of unique monologues. Um, Actually, Northfield started as a thriller, sort of in the vein of Vince Flynn, and just through trial and error in the process of writing, ended up becoming a post-apocalyptic work. That's when everything sort of snapped into place. So yeah, I guess just through that, you can sort of see where those inspirations have led to the creation of Northfield.
How long did it take you to actually write the book when you had the first germ of the idea and they said, okay, I'm really, wanting to put this down on paper and it's now starting to really take hold and it's really rolling. Um, how long did it take from those first few words to when you knew to put the period on the last sentence?
That's a great question. So I started writing it in earnest in about June of 2017. I finished the first draft by December of that same year, and just was editing it um, pretty avidly at first, and then sort of on and off as I was working on other projects until 2020 came, and just with everything going on, it just seemed like the right time to self-publish a book, and just went along with that process, and working with editors and cover designers, and all the process that goes into getting it published until November of last year when it came out on Amazon.
That's amazing. What was that feeling like when it came out on Amazon? You must have been like pinching yourself, saying like, wait a minute, I wrote a book.
Yeah, it was certainly a really great feeling. I've written a lot of different stories and books before Northfield, but seeing one finally cross the finish line was definitely a great feeling. And I think especially just all of the praise I've gotten since, and just how much people seem to like it. I think that's been the most fulfilling part of all is putting something out there, but putting something out there that people seem to sincerely enjoy.
So tell us about the book. The cover is fantastic. I mean, it really is. Is it is it designed? Is it supposed to be like a mirror image of a skyline? Tell us about this image for the cover. It really grabs you.
Yeah, certainly. I think the cover designer I worked with, I think he did an absolutely amazing job.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of this was sort of his ideas and his input. So I don't have quite as much in the way of, analyzing each of the decisions he made, but I do think I really do like the dark reflection as far as what you were saying, the sort of mirrored skyline from top to bottom with this sort of oppressive gas in the middle. I think it just really sets the scene and the mood for the novel.
It does, absolutely. And tell us about the story. I mentioned it just in the beginning, teased it a little bit. How did you come up with the idea of the story itself? And take us maybe through a little of the beginnings, like setting the stage for Northfield.
Right. So I really wanted to create a book just about this sort of central idea I wanted to go through is just about someone who's in a world where nobody really believes the same things they do, and they're sort of the only one really standing up for what they believe is right. And just the sort of struggles that come along with that, both for yourself and for against the world, when you're put in situations where you have to compromise your values in one way or the other. I just thought that would be a great vehicle to tell a story.
Yeah. And is there a message in the book? Is there, it is a novel and has sci-fi, attached and wrapped in it. But is there a lot of times, like when you would watch a lot of sci-fi movies, TV series, specials, there was always some sort of overall feeling or message, even when you would see Alfred Hitchcock thrillers or the Twilight Zone. Every single Twilight Zone has some sort of a message about life and how we treat each other and people and relationships and the strong versus the weak and all these different things. When you were penning this novel, was there any thought to any of the um, any message or anything that you wanted us to come away with thinking about as far as life and how we operate in it?
I wouldn't say there's quite an explicit message in the way of, for instance, Ray Bradbury's. A lot of books are about the warnings of where technology can take you. So I don't think there's an explicit message in that sense. I think it was more just exploring that idea of someone who's standing up for what they believe and planting themselves, even when the whole world is going in the opposite direction. And I suppose I would say that is that's the sort of message as far as it is important to stand for what you believe in, regardless of what the world says. And a lot of it is just exploring that through the character of Northfield and just all of the questions and complications pursuing that path brings up.
Tell us about the central character. Is the character based on anybody that you have heard of or that in real life, or was it a totally, created character that you've added life to? Because obviously, this character, Mark, has a lot of fortitude and a lot of resilience, and tries to stand up for what's right. And sometimes you have to buck the system or go in an opposite direction in order for that to happen. So when you were envisioning Mark Northfield, the main character, what were you envisioning?
I wouldn't say there's a specific person that he was drawn inspiration from directly. I would just say it's a whole eclectic mix of various different elements. For instance, sort of what I was saying, I think Peter Parker was a big inspiration. I also think the main character of The Road, the father in that story, just the sort of resilience and fortitude. And yeah, just some things from my own life, my own personal experiences, as well as the people around me and positive, negative qualities. You see, there's a big effort put into making him a three-dimensional character, as far as he has a lot of those positive qualities, but also a lot of sort of negative ones to match. Just to, the biggest goal of the book was to make him feel really human and someone the readers believed in.
And sort of having the opportunity to, operate as a lone mercenary. Tell us about that, and why you wanted him to be, to operate that way. The message maybe that's tied into that, because every once in a while, I think all of us in our own lives feel like we are lone mercenaries in our daily lives, right?
Right. So Mark Northfield at the beginning of the book starts as a mercenary, like you were saying, for this group known as the Network, which has a lot of control over the city and surrounding region. And a lot of it is just sort of goes into the fact where even no matter what you believe in personally, you're still sort of attached to the world and have to deal with various parts of it. For instance, um, like I was saying with Northfield, he sort of has his own set of beliefs, yet he's working in this system where he has to work with this organization where he doesn't quite believe everything that they're telling the public and that they're telling him. So I'd
You
say
know,
that's why.
yeah. There's a movie that was out, oh, I think it was in the 70s, and it starred Jack Lemmon, and it was the China Syndrome. I don't know if you ever saw that one, Jack Lemmon and Jane Fonda. And it was about, he was sort of like a lone mercenary as well. And he was like the head of this nuclear plant. And I guess, because it was new back then in the 70s, there were some issues in terms of safety with this nuclear plant. And there were options and choices that could be made to operate at full power and just go beyond some of the cracks that were happening and some of the water levels dropping and just some of the things that could really have harmed society as a whole, and just plunge forward and keep a stiff upper lip and don't have any bad publicity or bad promotion. But then he fought that. He fought the company. He fought the system. And I don't want to give away the ending in case somebody didn't see it, but it doesn't work out great for Jack Lemmon, who starred as in it. But it was similar. It's something, or the movie Network, where the anchor who was legendary gets let go for somebody younger and just a whole other shift. And then he storms into the station live when they're doing the newscast, and, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore type of thing. And so you have these scenarios where there are people who want to do the right thing. I mean, are there any elements of you? Sometimes, when people create art, whether it's television or music, film, stage, theatrical works, written word, there are elements of themselves in the book. Are there elements of Calvin in the book as well?
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say in a lot of books, especially when you're writing purely fiction, it's um, a lot of the things you believe or just those elements will naturally seep into the book. I do think, I wanted to create Mark Northfield as a character I identify with. And I think, through that, he shares some similarities with, things I believe or things like that. So I do think the main character, um, is an expression in a lot of ways as me, but at the same time, he's not like a self-insert character where it's not, Calvin Fisher is Mark Northfield. He's definitely his own unique individual who, as I said, takes a lot of inspiration from the
Calvin
various
Fisher
books.
will be more Mark Northfield when the movie comes out.
I don't think I have the acting chops for that.
What's the response been? Because I've heard nothing but fantastic things and great reviews. What has the response been so far? I know it's still semi-young, and because the world has been a little different than normal, where you'd be doing, you and I were talking before we went live on the air, the book signings and all those things. The world came to a halt back in March of last year. Still, with it being on Amazon and being available there and people reviewing and things, what's the feedback been like? And I'm sure it's amazing when you get feedback from people who read it and they tell you how much they really like it and enjoy it, and they even want more from you.
Right. Yeah. It's really been just an onslaught of positivity, which is, great. When you put your book out, you're so close to it that a lot of the time it's one of the toughest things for you to assess your own work and how other people think of it. But yeah, it got a great review from Kirkus Reviews. There were like 5 or 6 reviews from Reader's Favorite, that review website, and all those were pretty much perfect reviews, which, is just a very humbling thing to see, in that it's really, resonating with a lot of people.
How did you know? Was it harder to get started in writing it, or was it harder to know when to put the period on the last sentence, when to end it? Because it's your work, it's your body of work, it's your tale and your novel. So, you want to have a lot of detail, but then some people say less is more. How did you know when to end it, and what was harder for you in that overall process? Getting going, or knowing when to say, I'm done, I'm good with it, I could walk from it, I'm not going to tweak it anymore, I'm not going to rewrite, I'm not going to add more, it's complete?
That's a really good question. And I'd say for me, certainly, knowing when to end is the hardest part, because nothing can be perfect, right? No matter if I spent 100 years on this book, it would still have flaws, like everything else. And as the writer, as you're in it so much, you do see a lot of the flaws, and you just have to sort of weigh which flaws the reader might see, which ones are most ready, what will actually impact the book, or what are just completely trivial things that are more author pride than anything else. But with that, the other side of the coin is you do have to get started on the next book. You can't just have one book that you put out when you're 75 years old. So certainly finding that ending point is tough. And I don't think there's a very clear point. I think it is an intuitive sense of, at least for me, how I judge it is when I feel happy with it, because I think I'm my greatest critic. So when I'm finally happy and proud of something, I feel like that's the point where I can put it out, because, what you can't control what the public thinks, but if you can, at the end of the day, be just proud of what you accomplished, that's all that you can really do. So.
Absolutely. Well said, my friend. Juanita in South Africa says, Calvin, is it a standalone book, or is there a chance for a sequel? Trilogies seem very popular nowadays.
A sequel is in the works, so it will certainly be 2 books, and then 3 or 4 is the goal, just depending on, I have an idea for the complete overarching story, and it just depends if that can fit into 3 books in total or 4, but the next book is underway.
That's exciting. So have you actually started the writing process, or are you just really sort of formatting it now?
I am in the throes of the writing process. So just, in the first draft. So in the first draft, anything's subject to change, but I have a decent idea of what it's going to, end up looking like in the end. But I'm excited for that.
So now that you've penned the first one is out. And again, congratulations. It's not easy writing a book of any kind. There's a lot of stress, and there's a lot of emotion put into it, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And, you got to really stick to it. You got to be resilient. And there'll be times where you're probably like, oh, I don't want to write today. I just want to go outside. But the book is waiting for the rest. So you got to really be very focused and just keep at it. So kudos and congratulations on that first book. Now that you've written the first book and it's out there, and again, it's available on Amazon, what have you learned from the writing process, and what are you doing that might be slightly different with the second one? not as far as the storyline, but just in the process itself, what you have learned from now being officially a novelist.
Right. I think a big part is just the, effort that goes in when you sort of are finished. Those parts that come afterwards. All of that was just a complete learning process. I didn't really know what I was getting into. So I think, knowing how long working with an editor takes, as well as, getting covers designed and just all the formatting and processes for getting a book out and getting the word out, certainly has helped me with scheduling and just sort of my time management. As well as I think it's just important to have a really good baseline for the story and a plot you're excited to do before getting started on it. So I'd say those were some pretty big things.
Yeah, they are absolutely. And again, it's cool that you have the second one already underway. So people are listening to that and probably going to be looking forward to it. This audience is very responsive. I don't doubt that they're running to Amazon to get the book now. They do that right away. Juanita also asks, she says, cool, do you draft the whole story before you start writing, or do you let it develop as you write, almost like you're writing it live, because as it's coming, you're writing it versus drafting it all out and then sort of perfecting it and adding those pieces of the puzzle? How do you do it?
I'm a drafter. I just think I'm too anxious of a writer as far as if I write anything and don't know where it's going, I just fret about where is this going? Am I just going to spend a couple of months just writing myself into dead ends? So I usually write out nearly scene by scene, or at the very least chapter by chapter of what's going to happen. And generally try to work out some of the just like logical parts of the story that need to make sense. So if they're going from A to B, um, just writing down why they're going to A and B and working out some of those details. Because I guess that's another thing I did learn from my first story is like, some things are easier to sort of fix than others. And if you realize, well, mid editing a book, like, oh, wait, this plot point doesn't make a ton of sense given this, it can be really hard to go back and change all of it and make sure everything else sort of makes sense in a continuity set point from that. So I definitely try to do a lot of plotting beforehand.
Any thought to it also being an audiobook?
Yeah, there's definitely something I've gotten a lot of requests for, and I'm
Yeah.
very interested in making it happen. I think just waiting for the book, to reach a little bit more critical mass before putting some resources into that part.
And then probably
It's
other
a
languages too, right?
right, yeah, like translations and that whole work. So I think I'm just waiting. Once the demand is fully there, I think I will. It's certainly something I'm interested in.
Would you ever envision it as a movie? Some of the visual elements to this as well. Could you hope for that as maybe something on television or in film form?
Yeah, I think it's hard for a lot of writers to be like, no, I'd hate my work getting made into something. But yeah, I one of the things I've heard most from it is people saying like this would be a great movie. And I do think a lot of it. I did put a good amount of effort into making it feel cinematic and putting a good amount of emphasis on the imagery. Not overdoing it where you have to just read blocks of description, but at the same time, painting a picture that I think would be good. And I also think just the plotting and pace of the book would be pretty conducive to a movie. Some books are a little too, um, I guess, there's so much going on. It's really hard to condense it into a movie. But I think it would lend itself well to that format too.
So, what has the family said? I mean, they must be exciting. They have an author, a novelist in the family, I'm sure, and they know what you've gone through to make this, come to fruition. That must be a great feeling for the family too, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. They've been nothing but supportive, especially my parents and my girlfriend have just been supportive the whole way and just helping me with a lot of the decisions and the process. So couldn't be happier for their support, and I know they're pretty excited about it.
So again, the book itself, tell us a little bit more again about the story so people can get a good sense, not giving the whole thing away, but a little bit more in terms of the story, the plot line, so they can get an idea of what they're going to be in for.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just gonna grab a quick sip.
Yes, definitely.
um, Yeah, that's a great question. So, as you sort of laid out, Northfield is set in a post-apocalyptic world. The Earth is sort of drowning in this toxic gas that people can't breathe in without pretty much suffocating and dying. So, people, if they go outside or go anywhere, they have to wear gas masks, which sort
It's
of
COVID.
relates to COVID. It's just one of those
How
odd
ironic, huh?
coincidences. Like it's one of those things where people, when they read the prologue, they're going to think, "Oh, this is just someone who wrote this after COVID." But I guess just one of those weird coincidences that pop up. But anyway, yeah, post-apocalyptic world. People have grown very harsh and insular by means to survive. Caring about other people and sort of altruism have gone by the wayside for people to survive. Mark Northfield is the exception. He's trying to be the best man he can to honor some promises he made to his past wife. Um, and he works for as a mercenary for this organization known as the Network, which is pretty shadowy. People don't know much about. Besides that, they sort of are this mediator between the various parties in the city. Um, he ends up by an adversary getting blackmailed into an assassination mission, which he can't turn down, otherwise he'll be killed himself. So he's sort of torn between this promise he made to his wife and his own self-preservation. Little does he know, however, his target holds the key to saving the world. So he doesn't know what he's in for with this target. So
Mm.
it's definitely a ride with a lot of twists, very fast pace. You meet a lot of characters and just very interesting people in this world.
It doesn't sound too far from what society is like in many ways with some of the things that we deal with and, the different personalities and the different struggles and frustrations in life and how wacky things can get. It does seem like it has this element of, a message about society and about caring about one another and helping one another and unifying and sort of doing the right thing and all for the cause type thing. Like there is a little bit of a message of like, if this were you, if you were in this predicament, if you were dealing with these issues, how would you react? Would you react in a way that's for the greater good, or would it be something that's just self-serving? Or so there's a little bit of a message. As you were writing that, was that pouring out of you? Was that already the thought process before you started writing? Or did that just grow as you continued writing?
I think that was something that was there pretty much from the very beginning as far as looking at that struggle. I do think one of the things you notice throughout the book is um, once he sort of makes this decision, things start to get really messy in ways he just couldn't possibly imagine. And sort of the road ahead starts to look a lot more confusing. So it's about, making those decisions of right versus wrong and altruism versus selfishness. But it's sort of about too forging ahead, even when you don't quite know what the right decision is, and just trying to navigate that. So certainly, what you said, a big part of it is just sort of probing the reader and wondering what they would do in all of these situations he finds himself in. It's like, where would be your point? You cut and run, or turn left where he turns right. So I think at least there's a lot of fruitful ground for conversation around that.
What do you hope, Calvin, people are left with upon reading the book? There's obviously entertainment value to anything like a book or a novel in this case. But maybe you hope that they're left with something, maybe that they look at their lives a different way, or just there might be something else that you hope people are left with beyond just reading it for the entertainment value and then putting it down and then moving on.
I'd say, yeah, a couple things, I guess. The first is, the what's right and wrong isn't always dictated by what the world says or what the world makes of it. You really have to find in your heart what the right thing to do is. And as well as that, the right thing to do going forward isn't always as simple as choice A or B, or it won't always be clear to you, especially in the moment. So, just some inspiration in navigating those tough situations, because I think we all find ourselves in positions where we don't always, we're sort of split between two different things where they both seem so right and so wrong for various, whatever reasons they may be. So I think just a story like that people can relate to and sort of maybe draw strength from when they find themselves in a predicament like that.
Well said. Well said. Did you find it enjoyable, or were there frustrating moments? Was there any writer's block, anything that got in the way of getting this novel completed? What was some of that like for you? And also, a friend of mine, a screenplay writer, would always, he's in New York, some of his most incredible moments to write were at like 2 o'clock in the morning, when the house was quiet, when the phone wasn't ringing, when there were no emails to return and texts, and there was no demands of the day. And because the house is quiet, the world is asleep, he would become the most creative because there's nothing distracting. Sometimes even wake up out of a sleep with incredible dreams or visions or just thoughts, and would run right to the computer typewriter and just go quickly at it to savor it and grab that moment. For you, do you do that too? I mean, were there times when it got a little frustrating? Maybe there's some writer's block, or there's better times of the day for you when you can really focus, concentrate, and not have, the chaos of the world knocking on the door so you can focus?
I'd say I know, at least in my case, almost all of my writer's block is from distractions, just feeling occupied somewhere else. And the hardest part for me sometimes is just sitting at the keyboard and writing, especially when my head is, 100 different things. Usually, once I start going, I usually am not in a situation where I'm wondering, oh, where am I going to go next? What am I even going to put in the page? It's more worried about, if I start putting words on the page now, are they actually going to be quality and, something that I'm not going to have to go back to in a month and just completely tear out and do again? Like you said, I think distractions, and especially in our world with just, the internet at our fingertips on our phone, just buzzing, and it can be hard sometimes to just find that place of calm. I usually, for me, weekends are where I get the most done, especially, weekend mornings. There's
Yeah.
not usually a whole lot going on. And then during the week, I usually just try to, when I'm done with my day job, I exercise to clear my head and then write immediately after that. Because I'm not like the screenwriter you talked about. I usually, if it's past 10 o'clock p.m., I know it's just not going to be a productive session. So I usually try to get everything done before about 10 o'clock at night.
So you're definitely a morning person. When you wake up, you're ready to go. But as the day goes on, okay, let's put everything away, and we'll come back to it in the morning.
Right, right.
Who are some of the novelists that you really enjoy that inspire you, Calvin?
I think one of my, probably my favorite writers, Brent Weeks. He is a fantasy writer. He did like the Night Angel trilogy, it's called.
Yeah.
the Lightbringer trilogy as well. He's just, I think everything he does and every part of his writing is great. He is an absolute masterclass with creating interesting characters that you care about and just worlds that you just want to learn more about. So I think my goal would be to be compared to him in some way someday. I'd say Vince Flynn too, as I said, love those books, and I'd say the last of the three is Cormac McCarthy. He was just an awesome writer and has just really great stories and about morally gray situations and just probably one of the most beautiful styles of writing I've seen. So
Now that you've done it and you've got that book done and it's out there available on Amazon for people to enjoy, um, what would you say to others who are considering writing a novel who haven't done it yet? What are some things you've learned about the process that you would, share with somebody else who's always had this dream of writing a book?
it's probably what a lot of other writers would say, but honestly, you just have to start doing it. The thing is I like to put it into numbers for people. A novel is about 160 Microsoft Word pages, which if you do a single one of those a day, you'd finish with a draft of a book in just half a year. And if you write a little bit more than that, you're looking at like 3 or 4 months of writing. So even though a whole novel might seem insurmountable, if you just do a little bit every day or even every other day, maybe just a half hour even, you'll sort of get to where you want a whole lot quicker than you want. It won't take you years to write the book you've been dreaming about. So I highly encourage you to just, get those ideas on paper and start writing. The exception might be if you're trying to write like the next Game of Thrones, where it's like 1,500 pages. That's a whole different beast. But if you're just, a basic novel, you're capable of a whole lot more than you think you are. So I say just do it.
Do it and let it roll. And, sometimes you may tweak it. And did you do any massive rewriting along the way?
Oh yeah, that's I guess that's the caveat is, writing the first draft, that's a reasonably quick process depending on the book. Um, I guess depending on which genre, but I spent probably 2 or 3 times as long for my book on editing and rewriting parts and just getting everything to sort of the pacing I wanted and making sure pretty much everything lined up logically and all the different, details of the post-apocalyptic world sort of like meshed with each other. So I think just because it is a speculative work, there's just a lot of editing that goes into it. Um,
Yeah, that's incredible. It really is a lot that goes into it, more than, most people realize, because it's your baby. I've interviewed a lot of people over the years from different walks of life and authors. And some of them tell me that they get very attached to not only the book, but the characters in the book, almost as if the characters are kind of like their kids. Like you feel so protective over the characters, you feel so connected to the characters, almost like they would be your kids, your babies. You're really watching over them and you feel attached to them. Do you find that as well with the characters in your book?
I don't think I've quite had that same relationship when writing. A lot of it is just going into them and seeing how to make them, people readers care about and that I end up caring about. But I think I care about them in a more sort of distant way. I don't see them as my kids, if that makes sense. I see them more as friends. I don't know if that distinction really comes across, but it's more like these are people I care about and want to see succeed, and want to see where their lives go. Catch up with them, rather than this sort of very protective mama bear type approach. I mean, that is to say, if they someday made a movie or something and completely botched the characters, I'm sure I'd be upset. But I don't know if that distinction came across, but that's usually more how I see it.
That's a cool process, and maybe having that slight separation keeps a clarity for you too, so you can distance you're on top of it, but you can distance yourself, so that way the storyline could be clear, and it gives you room to write other material, which you're in the throes of doing right now, which is really, really cool. And I wish you a lot of success with that. I want to show people the book again. Again, the cover is really fantastic. They did a really fantastic job on that. That really looks like, a famous painting, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
that's tremendous art.
yeah, that's what I actually went to my cover designer for. Is he had I was perusing for cover designers, and he had a few that looked like watercolor paintings in space, and I just contacted them and wanted something, similar but post-apocalyptic. If anybody in the audience is looking for a cover designer, you're writing something and know someone who is. His name is Geoffrey Bunting. He's from the UK, so he might respond to your emails at a little different time if you're here in the US. But he did great work. He was just very quick, very flexible, willing to make adjustments, even months after our deal sort of ended. So great cover artist and a great person to work with. So yeah, gotta give him some credit.
Yeah, give props to him. Absolutely. So the book itself, Northfield, is available at Amazon. That's where people can go to get it.
Yep, Amazon. It's available on a Kindle ebook and as a paperback novel too. So whichever of those formats you prefer.
That is fantastic. Well, this is amazing, Calvin, and congratulations on the very first book. I know it, always seems easier than it is, but it was a labor of love and a lot of time put in. I know you had to balance the rest of life with this book, but you got it out there. It's available right now at Amazon and on Kindle as well. And more to come from Calvin Fisher, right? When you get the next stuff going, we will have you back. We'll keep that porch light on for you, and we'll share the next ones here on the show.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I'd love that. And yeah, Northfield's just the first to come. So this is just the beginning.
Absolutely. Oh, Austin Field says, another excellent show. Thank you, Austin. Juanita in South Africa asks, if it was to be a movie, which actor could you see playing the main character, and should it be made into a movie?
Yeah, I'd love to see it be made into a movie. Sort of for the reasons I was mentioning. I think it sort of has a cinematic quality, and the pacing of it would be pretty good for a movie. I always thought I didn't think of him while writing the book, but afterwards, Wyatt Russell, who's in just a various bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
He just has a lot of range, and I think he just matches the look of the character too. So if he ends up seeing this and he's interested, let his agent know. But yeah.
That's a good suggestion coming from the author himself. He's already got a suggestion out there. Well, I certainly hope the show met whatever expectations that you had, my friend. And again, we'll keep the porch light on for you. And I hope you definitely enjoy the time with me and the viewers, the Lovities, as much as I certainly have with you. This was a real pleasure, Calvin.
Yeah, same here. I really enjoyed being on the show and talking to you and meeting all of the Levities. It couldn't have been a more positive experience. So thank you all.
And Wozniak in Florida says, thank you, Calvin, for sharing this experience with us. Loved every minute. Christine Clifton in North Carolina says, thanks, Calvin, for sharing with us tonight. The book cover is brilliant. Congratulations on your book. Maureen in Arizona. Very cool conversation this evening. Thanks again for being here, Calvin. Wishing you continued success. And Mary Bishop in Florida. Great meeting you, Calvin, and take care. Kathy Short in Cleveland. Thank you, Calvin, for being with us tonight as well. And I just second what all the viewers are saying. Let's stay in touch. Hopefully, we'll meet in person if I'm back out in Denver on a TV shoot, or you're on the East Coast between New York, Boston, and all. Let me know. Go for coffee. great conversation. Congrats, Calvin, on the book. Looking forward to reading it. And that's Juanita in South Africa. And so cool stuff. And yeah, congratulations again. And hopefully you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you. This was a real treat.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Whenever you come to the Denver area, or vice versa, anytime. So yeah, thanks. This was an absolute pleasure, and thanks to all the levities too for the kind words. It really does mean a lot. So again, thanks to everyone.
Pleasure is totally ours, Calvin. And this episode is available 24/7, 365 on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. We encourage folks to subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of the content, and share the link all around too, because this episode will always be there in perpetuity. Congratulations again, my friend. You have a terrific weekend. And again, let's stay in touch. And I wish you nothing but continued success as well, Calvin.
Absolutely. And all the same go to you. Have a great weekend, and take care.
Absolutely. Spread the word about the Jim Masters Show live. We would love that, my friend.
Absolutely. And I'll spread the word about you and all the levities.
Have a good time in Denver, the Mile High City.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Calvin Fisher, novelist, right here on the show, the Jim Masters Show Live. That was fantastic. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you joined us late, this is the novel. And as he said, and obviously it's quite riveting, sci-fi, apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic. It's really incredible. And we just teased you with a little bit about the book. There's so much more than we talked about tonight, because we don't want to give the whole thing away. But it is available on Amazon. It's a phenomenal read. The feedback has been spectacular thus far. And it's available on Kindle as well. Maybe it will be a movie one of these days. Who knows? Never say never. And more coming from Calvin Fisher as well. Look for a continuation of the series, which I think is really, really exciting. It was great having Calvin as my special guest here on the Jim Masters Show Live. As always, it's terrific having you guys here as well. I want to let you know that on Sunday, we've got a very big show live from Ireland. The High Kings are going to be here, and it's going to be amazing. That's right. You may remember Brian Dunphy and Darren Holden were with us individually. They're longtime friends of mine. I've interviewed them many times on PBS. And on this Sunday, Finbar Clancy and also Paul is going to be with us as well on Sunday, live from Ireland. Now, that's at a special time. That's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. So that way there, it's 8 p.m. in Ireland, which is really important. The reason why we're doing it earlier, usually our show is 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. The reason why we're doing it earlier on Sunday is so that way the viewers and the fans over in Europe can participate and comment and be a part of the show as well, live, as much as they can when it is archived. So a big show on Sunday. Very excited about that. Next Wednesday, Patrick McEnroe is going to be here. Of course, you know his brother is John McEnroe, the incredible tennis star. Patrick, also a fantastic tennis pro as well. Also, ESPN correspondent. He is the tennis correspondent for ESPN. And Patrick is going to be here on Wednesday. And that's going to be really, really something special. We've got amazing guests, amazing conversations, and more coming up on the Jim Masters Show Live. So join us on Sunday again for the High Kings at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Tomorrow, we might be doing actually a pop-up show. We were going to have Nathan Pacheco, but something happened within his world. So he's going to be here in just a couple of weeks, and he's all excited about it. So we may be doing a pop-up show tomorrow. Check out our Facebook page, which is Jim Masters TV. We also have a Facebook page, a group page for our series. It's called JMS Live Lovety Hall. And you guys are really active in that. And I think that's really, really cool that you are so active in that group. We custom designed that Facebook group just for all of you. You asked for it, and you got it. And feel free to join in. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jim Masters TV. And of course, our series is home there at YouTube at Jim Masters TV as well. Juanita says, great show again, Jim. I love the variety of guests. Thank you, Juanita. And great conversation. Congrats to Calvin on the book. Looking forward to reading it as well. You guys have a terrific night. This was a great episode. We thank Calvin Fisher again. And of course, as we always say on the show, gang, don't forget to smile. We always say don't forget to smile. Don't forget to share the levity. You can never go wrong with too much levity. And find your Zen place. As I say multiple times on this series, mine is the ocean. We're sort of spoiled living on the coast here. The ocean is just a couple blocks away. That's the Atlantic you're seeing there. The number one Zen place is time with loving family and friends. And then, of course, tennis, writing, music, and, of course, the work that I do in television and radio and stage. Do what you love and love what you do. And then it's not even going to be work. It's just going to be a true pleasure. And of course, you can find the Jim Masters Show live. That happens all the time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Unless we do special episodes like we are tomorrow, we're going to have a special pop-up show. We'll announce that on our Facebook page. It's probably going to be in the afternoon. It's going to be a really inspiring pop-up show, host chat, levity pop-up show tomorrow. We'll keep you posted on that. Look for it on our Facebook page as far as when it'll be and our YouTube channel. Putting it together now. And then Sunday, the High Kings will be here live from Ireland. Missed an episode? Like to see this show again? 24/7, 365. You can see it on our YouTube channel. And it's always there for you. And we love all you guys. A couple more comments coming in here. Maureen says, ciao time, y'all, in Arizona. Hope you have a wonderful evening, a peaceful night's sleep, group hug, and much love to all. You got it, my friend. We'll see you during the course of the weekend. Good night, everyone, from Juanita. Mary Bishop says, good night, everyone. Have a great weekend as well. Christine Clifton says, great show. See you Sunday and or pop up tomorrow. Good night, Jim and Levity Squad. Absolutely. And don't forget, one more thing we always tell you at the end of the show, no matter what life throws at you, don't forget to relax. Don't forget to breathe. Love one another and love yourself. You know, you got self-worth. Everybody is of great value. And here on our show, doesn't matter your zip code, gender, political views, religious views, height, weight, income, eye color, none of it matters. Everybody's welcome to join us on our entertainment lifestyle talk show series known as the Jim Masters Show Live. And don't forget to relax. Sometimes I have to look at that too and remind myself to relax as well. You guys are the best. All your characters are here. The I, Jimmy Genie bottle, Jimmy the Clown, Casper's there, Silver, the Silver Lab, Gilligan, who came from Bob Denver's wife, Dream of Denver. Bob played Gilligan on Gilligan's Island. She was a guest on our show. The Turtle is there. And of course, your friend, who always is sort of my sidekick, George Burns, the legendary comedian. You got to laugh, right? He's always here and he says good night to you guys as well. You have a terrific night, gang. Always a pleasure. We love you all. Spread the word about the Jim Masters Show Live. It is quite unique, sort of bringing back the old school, warm conversational style of the old school talk shows with a modern vibe, modern twist of today. Mona in Louisiana says, was a great show. Thanks, Jim. Hope you and all the loveties have a great night. Good night, everyone. You as well. Mona in Louisiana. All right, gang. You guys have a good night. Always a pleasure being with you. Tell everybody about the show. Spread the word. Subscribe to the page. Follow us on Facebook and everywhere else. And we will see you again soon. Another comment coming in. Kathy Short in Cleveland says, good night, Jim. See you tomorrow. Perfect. We love you there in Cleveland. All right, gang. We're going to sign off. You be well. It's your host, Jim Masters. Thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, right here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Have a good night. We'll see you over the weekend. Bye-bye.